used to going to. All right, it's being recorded. You staying with family, and you take minimal clothes because you can just wash and whatever. So I need some guidance with packing. And I see Joy nodding her head. So Joy, you get to go now.
Okay. I have the same problem. Um, I'm anxious about that, the packing part. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. Should I take, where am I going to put my passport? Where am I going to put my back? How am I going to carry a backpack? And I also read that the buses don't always pull right up to where we're staying, and we might have to carry a luggage for 2 blocks, maybe. I don't know if that's true. So that kind of makes me a little nervous on handling the luggage and that kind of stuff. Um, but packing is my main issue. But I'm really looking forward to this trip because there's going to be quite a few people I know on this trip, and it's going to be a blast. So I'm really looking forward to it.
You have lots of people that can help get our luggage wherever it needs to go. We were always dropped off at the door on the last trip. So it's a
Yeah.
little different at each, everything will be a little different, but they were pretty accommodating. Actually, Joy, we didn't
Do,
unload our suitcase and we did not pack our suitcase. We set it outside the door every morning by a certain time. They had it in the bus and they got it off the bus and handed it to our room.
Oh,
So
that's
there,
awesome.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That is. Hey, the person I want to hear from is Randy. I'd like to hear what Randy has to say. Speak up, sis.
All right. My name's Randy Mullaney. I'm with that crew. You can tell Kim, Jamie, Mom. I'm excited because this is the first trip that I've went on, like a big trip with those guys. So good family bonding. And also, there's a lot of places that I looked at that I'm interested in. I ended up picking the excursion for Glendalough, just because I looked it up and that's where Braveheart was filmed, and that's one of our family, like my immediate family's favorite movies. So I'm interested in that. And then anxious things. I'm anxious about basically being away from my family for 2 weeks. I know at one point my boys are going to call me and ask me what's for dinner at some point in the trip. Hardly anticipating that. But just being away from home for 2 weeks is always a little like nerve wracking, I feel like. But the packing thing, I was just gonna say, oh, sorry, my husband's weed eating out there. But but I follow this site called Travel Fashion Girl, and she actually tells you how to do capsule wardrobe packing, and specifically for like different countries like Ireland, Italy, places like that, and even for the different seasons like spring, summer, fall, that kind of thing.
And what's the site again?
It's called Travel Fashion Girl. Sorry, he is like cranking up the weed eater. Travel Fashion Girl, but she also has a Facebook page as well that you can follow.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sis.
Oh, I'm in now.
who you want to pass it on to, Randy?
Oh, I forgot. I'll go to Paula.
Hi. Let's see. I'm excited about checking out two new countries. I've not been to Scotland or Ireland, so that should be fun. I wasn't worried about the norovirus until you mentioned it, so now I'm scared about getting sick. That would be the thing that would ruin it all.
Don't worry about it. You'll be
I'm gonna start taking lots of vitamin C and all the preventatives.
grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil.
Grapeseed oil, yeah.
Mhm.
So so I'm looking forward to it. It should be really fun. Let's see, who hasn't gone? Diana? Is Diana on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry. Just trying to get.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh. So what am I excited about? Definitely just looking forward to the architecture, just the history. Are you guys able to hear?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So primarily just excited about the history, not too anxious. I'm a pretty good traveler. I like leaving the country.
Me too. Me too. Diana, who do you want? Yeah.
Let's go. I guess Angela.
You know what? Can you guys hear me? Because I just
can.
lost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, well, for some odd reason. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there you guys go. My daughter was trying to FaceTime me and I kept declining her and then I lost you guys. So Diana and I and we have two others, other girlfriends of mine that we've graduated with. So Diana, this will be the first time. I'll let you know if she's a good traveler because it'll be my first time, but I've known Diana all my life. But the other two girls that are not on here, Debbie and Natalie, we are grade school friends. So we've known each other that long, but this will be our first time traveling out of the country. So we do a girls trip every year in September. And so when this came about, I was like, oh, will you guys go on this instead of what we might have planned for September of this year? And they said yes. And so to make it even, we asked Diana to come along because Diana and Deb are sisters. So this is exciting for us because we travel, but we usually stay within the United States. We've never traveled out of the United States. Natalie is more of our world-known traveler. She's not on the call with us, but I probably shouldn't tell you this, but she's the doctor. So if we all get sick, then we're going to go to her. But Diana and Deb, they're nurses, so we'll go to them too. So now I'm telling all the secrets. But anyway, so I'm excited because it'll be my first time out of the country. Kenna and I are neighbors. So Kenna's going to come down and pack for me. So I'm not nervous about that. She's going to come down and make sure I get it all stuffed in there. And then I think the only thing that makes me a little anxious is like, I guess the cash. Are you guys taking cash or are you guys doing it all on a credit card? I mean, the changing of money, and I'm like, ooh. So
We'll talk about that a little bit today too.
I don't know about that, but so
Yeah.
but I'm excited. I know Lisa. I don't know the rest of you, but it'll be fun. I'm excited. Natalie won't meet us because Natalie lives in Florida, but Natalie won't meet us until we actually get there. So we all won't be on the plane with her. I was a little bummed about that, but that's just because of where she's at. So, but I get excited on our girls trip every year. So, it'll be fun. So, okay. Yeah. I don't know who I jumped on late, so I don't know who else is
I don't
not.
think we've heard from Carol.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So Carol, you want to share a little bit?
Okay, well, I'm excited because, especially with Ireland, because I might have people there, and but I don't know. But I am anxious about the money also. I worry about the tipping. I'd like to make sure we tip properly.
We're going to go over that tonight too.
That's what I saw in your explanation, so that's why I didn't send you any question about it.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, and let's see, who hasn't talked yet?
I don't think Kim or Shelley.
Okay, let's do Shelley.
Kelly's driving.
Shelley's
Yeah.
driving. Hi, Shelley. You just want to listen instead of talking?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll let Shelley listen. Shelley's done this before. She'll be fine. Carol and Shelley don't have their daughters to take care of them on this trip, though, but that's all right.
That might be
Right.
good.
That probably will be. We'll get in more trouble that way, maybe. So that's good. All right, Kim, you share.
Okay, well, I'm most excited because I get to travel with my friend Lisa and then my two sisters and you, Kenna. And I'm really looking forward to this first excursion, the tea at the whatever it is.
Your
Yeah,
mother's going to.
well, I forgot about you, but you're right beside me. Anyway, I'm glad to be with you. Let's see. I think I'm just a little nervous about like. I get a little claustrophobic. Are these hotel rooms going to be this big? I mean, I
will tell you that
I don't want to have to sleep in the bath, like.
Right. I will tell you, European hotels are not as large as the ones that maybe accustomed to. They don't have the suites necessarily. Most of the double rooms that I've stayed in, when you've stayed with somebody else, it's not like a double bed and a double bed. It's more like a twin bed and a twin bed with this little space between it. But I've never felt like I was cramped in a room.
Well, I
So-
mean, I'm staying with Lisa, so I'm good with whatever, but I'm just
Right.
saying,
But we've talked about too. I mean, we don't want to have to share a double bed.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
if it's a double room, you should not. It will almost be like a double bed, but two twins with that space in the middle. If you've
Okay.
ever,
Space is
I-
good.
Yeah.
Space is
Yeah.
great.
And they might be two double beds, but most of the time, or from what my experience is in my international traveling, is that you are more. They're smaller rooms than what we're accustomed to.
I can deal with
So-
one king size bed, but I cannot sleep in a double bed.
No.
You know what I mean? I
Yes.
can't even do that with my husband. You know, it's like I don't know. I need space.
Yeah.
I have restless
I
legs. so
think
like,
we'll be okay, but they might be a little smaller than you're accustomed to.
okay.
So, all right, I thank everybody that could share. And Shelley, if you're not driving when you're done and we'll see if you can. I'm gonna pull up a PowerPoint and I'm gonna see if all of you can see it. Maybe.
I can see it.
I want to see it that way. So can you see it this
Yes.
way? All right, so I'm just going to go over a few things this will be super informal. Ask questions as we go. I might forget something and then we'll talk more at the end because I'm going to go to EF Tour site and pull it up as well so we can really look at our flight information together as well. So basically today we're going to talk a little bit about preparing to depart, getting to our tour, what to expect, the resources, in general. So just a few things. So when we're thinking about preparing to depart, everybody's talked about it. Everybody's anxious about it a little bit in the process of packing or whatever. I can tell you that, I'm not the queen of packing by no means. I have traveled a lot. You talk about lost luggage, not lost luggage. My recommendation, if you can accommodate what you have to take, I always try, and I did on my last two international trips, I packed in a carry-on, and you get a carry-on and an extra bag. And that extra bag, can be a nice size duffel bag even. And that way, and I packed an extra duffel bag in my duffel bag, lined the bottom with it. And then on my way back, I checked my suitcase. And I had my duffel bag and my other things that I could take. So it depends on how you want to pack. I know 2 weeks sounds like a long time. Sounds like a long time to get into one carry-on, but we're amongst friends. I don't care if you have 3 pairs of pants and you wear the same 3 pairs of pants the whole trip. I'm not going to judge you as long as you don't judge me. I have friends that go on these trips, and when they pack clothes they're planning on leaving and never bringing back home. So if you can go to Goodwill, find things that you're not that worried about, you pack them, you leave them, then you have spots for souvenirs. I can't say I've never left clothes. I left clothes on my last trip because I wanted to make sure my souvenirs got back, but I had planned. I bought like $5 t-shirts at Walmart. There were bright colors and different things, and I just had planned to not bring them home if they didn't fit, because your problem is you want to have room for your souvenirs. To help pack, if you've ever used packing cubes or anything on that line, they are nice to have. They keep you organized. Sometimes you can flatten them down more. My daughter is a believer of packing in gallon-sized bags. She would pack her outfits in there. You can suck the air out of those, which also go down a little flatter when you're packing. And you'll find out if you roll your clothes, you can get a lot more than a suitcase than if you just fold it. The thing about going to Ireland and Scotland, if you look down at the bottom, it says your average temperatures are going to be in the 60 degrees. And Scotland could be a little bit warmer. you're going to have layers of some nature. And one of those layers will have to be a raincoat for sure. But you'll have to have some kind of layers. And the thing is, with your layers, you can wear those to the airport. Bring those with you, not necessarily have to pack them. And then you can, I mean, I know we're going in the middle of July, but I'm always cold on a plane anyways. So you can kind of use that in your packing as well. I'm hoping I can get in a carry-on this time because I do have that kind of anxiousness on my suitcase and stuff not showing up. But if you don't pack in a carry-on, and make sure when whatever you take on the plane, you have your important things. You have your medicine, you know, you have a change of clothes or maybe 2 changes of clothes, just in case there's a hiccup in your suitcase getting to you. So other than that, make sure you have comfortable shoes. It says on here, if we're visiting churches, and we will visit a few churches, they don't like bare legs or shoulders. Kenna's not going to have bare shoulders in 60-degree weather anyways. And my bare legs would be no more than if I had a skirt on, because I might take some capris. And I'd be okay wearing capris. And I've worn capris into a lot of cathedrals that I've been into in foreign countries.
So you could do a skirt or a dress. I mean, that's not considered bare legs.
Mm-mm. Oh, well, if it is, nobody's ever, I mean, multiple people have done that on multiple trips that I've been on, even
Just
in
not
Ireland.
shorts.
Yeah, I just don't think they want like shorts and that kind of stuff out of respect
Okay.
to the places that you're going. So I like my capris. 60-degree weather, you know. I will also say, and I think Kim and I might have talked about this. They make so many pants right now that are that super thin material, lighter weight, that can like pack really confined. You're better off bringing those kind of pants than bringing jeans and stuff. You might, if you're more comfortable in jeans, that's up to you, but I would look into some of those kind that are that thinner material, just because they pack easier. I wore a lot of what some people might call leggings the last time I was in Ireland, but heck, half the time now, the leggings you can buy look dressy. Yeah. So, and that's just, and they pack a lot thinner. So closer to time, I'll look for a publication. I'll even share out in an email the site that, was it Randy or who shared on Traveling Fashion Girl?
Yeah.
Somebody shared on that. I might look at that site. We might share that with each other too on tips. Randy, did you see anything on that you think would be a good tip to throw in there? And we'll talk about our emergency medical insurance cards and some of that and where we carry them in a second too. But anything, Randy, you saw on that site if you visited it?
They just talk about like, she goes into specifics of like what the best travel pants are, what the best waterproof shoes are. She goes into a lot of specifics, even like what's the best like carry-on luggage to that like it basically meets the weight criteria and that kind of thing. So yeah. She has a lot of like it basically breaks it down. And like I said, it breaks it down into the seasons too. So like Ireland in the spring, Ireland in the fall, Ireland in the summer. So you can look at it that way too.
Yeah. So that might be something good you want to look at. I will say, find yourself the pair of shoes that are waterproof. Gym shoes are not going to be it. And there are a lot of places that, you know, you might want a pair of gym shoes for when you need more comfortable and something to walk in. I probably will take my Ariat waterproof boots that I got from Randy's because they keep my feet dry and I can walk in them all day long. They might not go without every outfit I have on, but that's probably what I'm going to wear the bulk of the time on the trip. Unless we're going out for dinner at night when I can put on something different. So find yourself the waterproof. And again, we're going to a country that it rains every day. Find yourself a jacket that's rainproof, that's good for you and comfortable for you to wear. I don't know, like We had Story Walk this Saturday. We had it at the fairgrounds. Anybody if been around that was around Saturday knows exactly what Saturday was. I went from a jacket that I thought was a nice rain jacket and I was soaked. Then I switched to my poncho that I bought, and my poncho worked well because I thought, oh, I'm going to take a poncho on this trip. But then my sleeves down here, where the poncho just dripped out, was drenched. When I was in Ireland, we didn't have downpours. We just had that misty rain all the time. So I'd say it's going to be more like that, not like Saturday morning, or at least I hope not. So find yourself a good rain jacket that you would want to take. It would be a good investment if you need one to get one. Also on the line of like, in case of emergencies, also pack your medical insurance card. Hopefully everybody carries their medical insurance card with them. From a standpoint of your passport and all that stuff, you either, if there's a place I can leave it in the hotel, I left it in the hotel because most of the hotels will have a locked box. But any purse that you're carrying, find yourself a purse that'll carry to the front side that will be attached to your body, a cross purse, nothing that's going to lay to the side that might be loose, and that would have those compartments that you can shut down in them to carry your things in, if that makes sense. I bought me a new cross purse that's very flat. I can put it underneath a rain jacket, underneath anything. A fanny pack that you can wear in the front underneath something might be something you might want to consider too, to carry your wallet. In Ireland, I did not feel unsafe at all when we were in Ireland. I have been to Rome, and there were people in our trip that went to it was a study abroad with UK, and we had 2 people that had their pickpocket. So, I mean, does it happen? Yes. But you got to be smart. Don't put your stuff in your back pocket. Don't carry stuff loose around you. Keep stuff in front of you. Yeah, be the same if you were in New York City here, right?
When I went to when we went the first time to Germany and Netherlands, they told us, like, I took my backpack, but you know where your zipper, they said to put one of those like a latch on it. And that's what I did, and because they were saying maybe, you know, you should be very careful about that. And so I just put it so the 2 zipping parts were together and put my latch
you want it so it's not easy access to people.
Right.
I like it more in front of me, but you find
well, I put my backpack in front of me. I carried my backpack in front because it was just easy.
Yeah. So that would just like when I would recommend buying a good raincoat. I would recommend buying a good cross purse, something that you can keep close to your body that would fit well underneath your clothes. So any questions, any more questions on packing right now?
So it's just one carry-on and one extra bag, right?
Yes. But you'll find out that your purse can stick into your extra bag. They're not going to count that. I will tell you, I bought Lindy and I, because my coworker Lindy's going, I bought her and I a foldy. I don't know if you've seen Mark. If I mention it now, it'll be on your Facebook page all day tomorrow, just so you know. Sorry. But I did buy a foldy bag because they fit over the handles and they expand out, and that's a good carry-on that's supposed to fit under your seat. I usually carry a backpack, but I feel I can get more in that foldy bag if I'm really going to try to be in a carry-on and a extra bag. So find yourself that extra bag that's going to be a bigger size bag that'll be easy for you to put a lot of extra stuff in as well. And I'm not saying you have to go in a carry-on. I mean, this is a 14-day trip. It could be hard. Definitely need a pair of extra shoes and some other stuff as well. But if you're not doing all in a carry-on, make sure you have at least an outfit or 2 in whatever you're taking on the plane with you, and your medicine, if you have medicine that you take. So, all right, that's packing. And we're going to go back to these. We'll have another session before people can share more tips on what they found for packing. I will tell you one other thing that somebody told me that they did for packing, and they must shop a lot more than Kenna. But you know how, like, if you order things from Amazon or different things anymore, they come in those nice little Ziploc bags that kind of like clothes come in.
Yeah.
They saved all those and they packed their outfits in them. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if I'd have enough, but that's the same as packing in a gallon bag. So, all right. Travel documents. Everybody should have their passport. Everybody should have their passport and know that it's extended at least 6 months. Anybody have any issues with their passport that we need to talk about? Okay. We have to do, if you have not done so yet, you need to do your UK ETA to get into United Kingdom. I know, Jamie, was it you that finally got yours back?
That's
Who was
Randy
it?
Jones.
Randy Joe. Somebody was I know somebody was having some issues, but it took a month almost. But has everybody on this phone call done that already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then we're in good shape. As far as I understand, it's connected to our passport. We don't have to carry anything with us. It's connected to our passport somehow.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So just as long as everybody has done it, we just know that's one of the requirements that have to be done. And that's the only extra requirement that we had to do. Electricity across in Ireland and Scotland, most of them are type G. So if you've never traveled before, you're going to have some kind of converter. They also recommended that if you're going to take your own hair dryer, that if your hair dryer does not have a built-in converter, and honestly, I couldn't tell you if a hair dryer has a built-in converter or not. I don't know. I don't use a hair dryer much. You need to buy a voltage converter. So the picture on the one side is the type G. The other thing, I did an Amazon search for a voltage converter. This is a picture of something that came up, and honestly, if you bought that voltage converter, it had all your other little plugs that go with it. So you would have your G, you would have some other types for some of the other countries that you might visit sometime down the line. So it might be advantageous to purchase something like that if you think you need it, but definitely have some kind of converter so you can so you can charge your phone or whatever else you might need to do. So any questions on that? Yeah, I think the voltage converter on Amazon was like $30. I haven't purchased it yet, but I might. I don't use a hair dryer, but I liked that it had all the plugs with it and it had the USB ports and everything right there. And I just don't have to worry about bringing anything else with me except for that thing. So that's what I'm thinking about purchasing.
Do you know if the hotels have hair dryers, like US hotels?
Some did, some did not.
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, they had heated towel racks in some I were at. Some of them had, it's a question that we can ask maybe a little closer to time, to our tour director. And I know we'll know who our tour director, who's our tour guide 30 days prior to our departure. So it's a hit or miss. There's not a guarantee. So.
But there is no washcloth.
True.
We know that.
Yeah. Most of the time there is no washcloths. You are right. So, anyhow, bring a washcloth and leave it behind.
That's what I did. I took all of my old washcloths and I just left them there.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, that I don't know, but we'll try to find out maybe a little bit closer to time. I don't think we need to talk about coverage, travel coverage, that kind of stuff, because I think most all of us did those options when we signed up for the trip. The problem is if your suitcase don't show up, yes, there's coverage for that, but it takes a little time to accommodate it. And I'm sure if somebody's luggage don't show up and we need something, we tell our tour guide and they'll find us the equivalents of a Walmart if there's not a Walmart there, to go purchase stuff. Yeah. So go ahead. Was somebody saying something?
We could share clothes if we have to.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we're not proud. I mean, honestly, you're going to see Kenna in the same pants most of the time. Maybe the same shirt twice, but I also I'll go back to packing, and I will bring these little, you can buy them almost anywhere. Like you can wash something in a sink. They're like little laundry sheets for the most part. You can wash things in the sink and then hang them to dry. So if you know we're in a hotel twice and you're getting low on undergarments, or there's a shirt you really want to wear again and you got hot and sweaty that day, you can wash it out and hang them to dry. So I always try to bring some of those sheets with me as well, if that makes sense. They're easy to purchase. They're small. They pack small. So, hopefully everybody has the app on their phone for the EF tours. Everybody have the app?
Yes.
That's going to be our main communication with our tour guide once we're there. That's probably where your tour guide will introduce themselves in a group chat. And that's where every day they'll send out our itinerary, when the luggage is going to be picked up at our door, that kind of stuff. It'll all be done through that app. So just want to make sure everybody has that app on there. You can also go onto that app and see who's traveling with you. So any name you don't recognize is somebody that's coming from a different group, and you can start to get to know some of the people that are traveling with us that's not part of our group. We're down to 16 now. I had one person back out, so there's 16 of us going. So get into your tour, flights and arrivals. I'm going to pull up our flight information here at the end, but closer to time, and I'll even show on you there the number that you'll get to get your boarding pass and that kind of stuff when you get there. Most of us are on United, so you might want to download the United app closer to time as well when we start registering or like getting our boarding pass and stuff. With our flight information and with packing, I think it was Felicia, if I'm right. Carol, you and Shelley can tell me as well. She used air tags in her luggage.
Yeah,
So
she did.
So she knew where her luggage was when she was at the airport. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that would take your anxiousness away a little bit, if you're worried about if your suit, or if it would cause more if you know your suitcase wasn't where it was supposed to be. I don't know. But she used air tags in her luggage and kept them in her luggage so she could keep track of her luggage and where it was at in the airports and if it was on the flights. So that might be something that if you have air tags and you want to consider, you might want to. That to me might make Ken a little more anxious, because I'd be like, oh, it's not where it's supposed to be. And then I'd be worried. So we'll look at our flights. We'll look at the information on our flights here in a little bit. I'll go to that site and we can see it. And as I think Angela said, everybody's traveling on the same flight except for one of us.
Mhm.
What to expect on our tour? You've seen the tour, you know where we're going. If you know, and I think Randy, you're the one who says you researched and done a lot. I was thinking on our next meeting that we might try to have a little closer to time. We'll let everybody else share information on something they've researched about where we're going. If you researched any, or Randy will tell us everything, you know. Lindy's a researcher. She'll look up a lot of places before we go as well. Kenna just goes. Yeah, good, bad, or indifferent. Kenna just goes and soaks it all in when she gets there. But if you know different places and there's something in the different cities that we are going to that's not listed anywhere in our itinerary, don't be afraid to reach out to our tour director, reach out to me to reach out to our tour director and say, hey, if there's any way we can fit this in, can we fit this in? So things to think on that you might want to, oh, Jamie's the researcher, sorry. I knew it was somebody, I just couldn't remember who. Okay.
Well, I had asked you if we had time in Scotland. I think it's the first day we arrive. It's real close to Rosamond Chapel, where they wrote the book Da Vinci Code.
Right. Yeah, and I asked the one person who, like, I talk to at EF Tours on a regular basis, but I think we're going to have better luck talking to our tour guide once we know who that person is and then appoint it.
Okay.
And then we'll reach out. And that's why I said, all these places you guys think you might not see on the list that you might want to. I think Jamie and we talked about Waterford Crystal as well. I went there the last time I was in Ireland, but we had a tour scheduled for it. But if we're staying in that city, and I don't know that if we are, I've got to do a little more research on that. It could be something that you have a free afternoon, you can go down and at least see it and go to the shop, the gift shop that's there. So those are questions as we get closer, we'll ask our tour guide too. So research away, find things that interest you. I say that because when I was in Austria, I kind of knew she was doing a Sound of Music tour. It was not part of our trip, but I got our tour director to do it. So there's things they can accommodate if we ask them in advance, and they can help us figure out when it would fit best into our schedule on free time. So, but that's kind of our map of how we're going. Oops, am I stuck? Oop. Yep. I don't know why I didn't go. Tour director. Sorry. They're walking pigs in my front yard. Our tour director will be with us throughout the whole time. We just kind of talked about that. You know, they have access to everything 24/7. They'll help us with the logistics. We won't know who that is. I asked again today, so about 30 days before. Sorry about the dogs. Hopefully you can still hear me. The tipping, I think Carol, you were asking about this.
Yes, right.
So this is the recommendation from, I'm going to let the dogs outside real quick. Sorry. They can go attack the pigs. Just keeps the pigs calmer if there's dogs around, right?
Yeah.
So what they recommend through EF Tours, and I think it's gone up even a little bit, Carol, and Shelley, from when we went. And I'll tell you what Kenna does. This is all based on USA dollars. They recommend for your tour director $10 per day. They recommend for your bus driver $3 per day. And then if we have any local tour guides, that means somebody that they have going to give us a tour of this place, $2. If applicable. Not every place we're going to go, that's going to be applicable. Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. So what I did before I went on my trip, I put in an envelope. On this trip, 14 days, $10 a day. I'll probably do $10 a day. Not the 12. Not that I'm cheap, but I still think that's a lot. $10 a day. I'll put $140 in an envelope. Market tour director. I'll put $3 a day in an envelope, market bus driver. And it can be US cash. So I'll have all that cash prior to going in an envelope. This is Kenna. And then that way at the end of the trip, I don't got to worry if I haven't where my money is for the tips. Oh. And then the local tips, like the local guides that we had in our group that went, and Carol and Shelley can attest to that as well. I might have had pounds or whatever, or whatever the money was for that country that we were in. And I might have had some, and I paid the tip for our group. And then the next time somebody else did, and it kind of washed itself out and who paid for what based on who had money at the time, if that makes sense. But definitely your tour director and your bus driver, that's what they recommend. I would plan on putting that aside. As for restaurants and other places that you go to, most foreign countries, they don't tip at those restaurants, which is a very hard concept. But we just kind of see what the culture is there and what the norm is. But most foreign countries I've been at, when you're actually in a restaurant eating, you don't tip. Because they're probably being paid better than ours.
Yeah.
So, questions on that? Thoughts on that?
So you wait. Do you give them the tip, like the tour director and bus driver, at the end of the trip? You don't have to do it every day. Okay.
At the end of the trip. Okay. The end of the trip, you hand your tour director that envelope.
Okay.
If you think they did a great job, if you think they did not do such a great job, you were disappointed, you take some of the money out. We were blessed. We had a fabulous tour director. I can't imagine that we won't. And we had a fabulous bus driver. So then I'm prepared. I don't got to worry about where I'm at on money at the end. So that's just the Kenna way. As for money going over, I will use a card as much as I can use a card any place that I go. Okay. If you want to take some of the money with you as you're going, you can exchange at the bank, but you got to let the bank know what you want before you go. So you can't walk into Heritage Bank or US Bank or whatever, Fifth Third in Falmouth and say, I'm going to Scotland, I need pounds. They won't have it, but if you give them notice, they can get it in and exchange it for you.
Yeah,
And
you
you
have
can
to order it.
Yeah, they'll order it in for you. So if that's something you want to do prior to going to have a little cash to start out with, you might want to consider doing that.
And do you recommend that?
I did not take it the last time. I went to an ATM machine after I got there and I pulled out cash. Now, when I say ATM machine, you got to make sure your card's going to work at that ATM machine, and you got to make sure that you know your PIN number. You can't get there and all of a sudden like, I don't know how to get money out, because I never use an ATM machine here. So I'm going to go to an ATM machine prior to going to make sure I still know my PIN number. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you know all that as well. I
Okay.
did not take money with me. I went to an ATM machine right after we got there, and I did not have any problems.
Well,
That's another question I will try to ask our tour director once we know, because your tour director has gone on these trips before. Will there be an ATM machine convenient to our first stop? Just so we know. But we're going to Scotland first. If you're more comfortable to, maybe have a couple pounds beforehand, go to your bank and have them exchange a little beforehand.
well, Natalie and I got ours at the airport.
Yeah, that's an
While
option
we
as
were
well.
waiting, we just did it right there at the airport.
Yeah.
So,
If you
I
have
mean, that's,
time, you can do it at the airport as well. You got to understand you could get, the exchange might be a little higher in some places than other places. Your ATM is going to have your least amount for the exchange of the money. So kind of do what you think works best for you. I know it's pounds in Scotland. I'm pretty sure it's something different in Ireland, but I don't have that in front of me right now.
Euros.
Euro. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. It only had currency used on the tour as Scotland pounds. Well, that's not right, because we got euros too. So you could get a little of each if you wanted. So I wouldn't get a lot, because you use your cards, use your ATM machines. There wasn't any place. Just make sure your card's going to work in a foreign country. Make sure your banks know that you're going and you're traveling. Most of that, like, is a online. If you do online banking, you click on that and say the countries that you're going to. And your American Express and those kind of cards, they don't question it really either. So
I didn't have any trouble on our last trip. I used my credit card for everything.
Yeah, there was a few people on our last trip that had trouble and could not get money because their card did not work. Can't remember what kind of card they had.
I told my card before we went that I was going to be,
But I think it was like a card that was not even accepted at the ATM machines there.
Probably like Discover or something like that.
Discover or something. Yeah, something
there
like
was
that.
something that you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember pulling money out for people,
her.
and they're Venmoing me money back. So, well, you got friends. So if somebody has a problem, we know each other.
Yeah,
I have no problem lending any of you's money.
You all are.
I would get it back.
Mm-hmm.
So, other questions on money? Okay. Let's see. I don't think we need to know much. We got the app. We got our support. We talk about all that already, I think. We're going to go into our excursions. So I have our excursions listed. I have listed on the site, from the site, and I'll show you where I kind of get it in a second when I go to there. But the very first excursion we have is on day 3. It's this Palace Hollywood House and an afternoon tea. It replaced the Melrose Abbey. So all of us got off of that one, put onto this one. Those that are not booked on this, so if your name's on here, you're not booked on this excursion. Carol with an E, Paula, Angela, Lindy, Alice, Natalie, and Debbie. If this is something you think you want to do, you just need to go back on to the site, sign up for that excursion. And they're trying to settle up all these excursions and get them booked this week. So you need to do that pretty quickly. And this one might have been missed by some of us because it was the newest one added. So if you think like, oh, why am I not on this? It's a very new one added. So if you're considering you want to do this Hollywood Rose afternoon tea, which I think is going to be fabulous, but that's Kenna because she likes teas. Carol, Paula, Angela, Lindy, Alice, Natalie, and Debbie, you are not on this excursion. You don't have to be. It's just saying you're not. So just so you're aware and that you know if you want to change your mind and go on it, you need to just go on to your site and add it. The next excursion's on day 8, and it's the Giants Causeways. And who I have not booked is Lisa, Kim, Randy, Joy, and Jamie. So those are the ones that so far are not booked on that one. On Kellymore Abbey and whatever national park on day 10, all of us, every single one of us is going on that one. So all 16 of us are on that excursion and booked. That's the same day as this one. And this is the traditional Irish music dance show and dinner. And I verified that we would have time to do both. I did an Irish music and dance show the last time I was in Ireland and I loved it. Only 4 of us are booked for this one. So myself, Bonnie, Carol, and Shelley. We are the only 4 right now booked to do the music and dance show. So if that's something you might want to consider, you just need to go on your app or on your site to online and register and get all that settled this week, preferably, and sooner than later. Let's see. Then we have one more, the Glendola on day 14. And who I have not booked on that one is Carol, Paula, Natalie, Angie, Lindy, Alice, and Debbie. And this is the one, who was it? Brandy, was it you that said Braveheart? Is that the one somebody mentioned earlier that said it was filmed there?
That was me. Yeah.
Well, Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been to this before. I consider not booking it because it's like the day before we leave. And I know some people might be tired, but Carol and Shelley and we did a excursion the day before we left and we were fine. I mean, just the more tired you are for the flight home, the better. And we would be back in time for our farewell dinner. So I don't know. That's just a rundown. If you're not booked, I'm not pressuring you in any way to booked. I'm just making you aware in case you're not aware. And they might be something you might want to consider. When the excursions are happening, if you're not booked, you basically will have like that time on your own. And they give you options and your tour director can help give you options as well. So, questions on any of that? Way too much information? Sometimes I feel like I go over way too much, but then again, I'm the kind of person that if I was traveling, I need to know, I want to know. I do want to try to go to let's see, I think it's this one. Share, maybe. Okay. So hopefully you can see what I have up here now. So what Kenna sees is different from what you see because this is my group members who's booked on the tour, spots that are left. As you can see, there's still not 9 spots left on this tour. So if you know anybody else, there's still room. They can join us. But when I go down here, I can look based on each of you, like who has travel, how rooming is, and the excursion. So when I click on excursion, it tells me who's booked on all these different ones. So you're gonna pull up on your itinerary. You're gonna pull up on your itinerary, go through each day. And if you want to book it, like see where mine says here, it's checked, it's booked. You're gonna click on that and book it for yourself if you want to add that to your excursions. If that makes sense. Hopefully you've visited this site enough and are a little bit familiar with it. If we look at our flights, and I'm just going to show them to you quick, not that we have to see them. Hopefully we're all on the same flight. I think we all are. We're supposed to be. So all of them are mainly United Airlines, if you can see. And I believe it's this number, like booking numbers. What is it? Like that number right here that I have that just hit up that NJKW76. When I book mine, that's the number I think I'm going to look to pull up my boarding pass. And hopefully each of your numbers is different than what Kenna's is. Or maybe it's a Z ticket number. I don't know. One of those two numbers. I know some of us had a little bit of issues trying to get our boarding pass the first time, and we had to ask a lot of questions. But I know it had to do with these two numbers right here in our boarding. And honestly, you go to the airport, they're gonna print them for you. So as you can see, we're gonna leave at like 2 p.m. from Cincinnati. I would be at the airport 12:30 at the latest. You know, that's a kind of thing, but we'll talk about that. We'll figure that all out closer to the time. Anywho, things to look at, things to think on. We have a layover in Chicago, and then our flight 2 is when we depart, and we end up there on Wednesday the next morning. I would recommend if you have trouble with your feet swelling, you have any kind of swelling issues, get yourself a pair of compression socks. If you've never flown long flights before, and you're the flight and the length and all that, I would recommend that you might consider getting a pair of compression socks for that flight. And I mean, I wear them on my overnight flights there, have another pair of socks ready to go to change out because they're tight and but you'll be glad you had them in the long run, especially if you have any kind of issues with swelling. And I don't know, everybody's different. If you've never flown that far before, never took an all-nighter and that long on a plane, I just would recommend maybe getting them. So make sure all your suitcases are tagged and everything as well. I think that was the main things I wanted to show you from that site. Questions?
Do we ride a train at all over there? Because I know train travel
we ride a ferry.
Yeah, I know train travel is real popular over there. I just was curious.
I think we're on a bus the whole time.
Okay.
I think most of our transportation is bus. Because there'll be a bus we'll have that same bus driver the whole time.
Oh.
So, when I was in Ireland, the last time we were on a bus the whole time. When I was in Italy, we were on a train a lot. So it just and when I was in Spain, I was on a train a lot. So I have a feeling we'll be on a bus. We weren't on a train at all on our last trip to Austria, Germany, Switzerland, and Prague. We were all bus, which is kind of nice. And I didn't see anywhere other than a ferry. I saw nothing different for our trip. Any other? Does anybody like Shelley or Carol? Did you have any trouble? Did you wear compression socks on our last trip?
I did not.
I did not either.
Yeah, it's up to you on what you do. I just err on the side of caution and put them on.
Well, I don't swell normally, so I
Right.
never did worry about it.
Yeah,
So,
just things to think on.
yeah.
Other questions, other thoughts? What else do you want to know? What else? I'm thinking we'll at least have one more meeting and we'll touch bases maybe like the week or so before we leave to make sure everybody's on okay that way wise. I think it would be nice to kind of have at least a meeting where we like look at some of the places we're going, and if you've learned something about them, share it with the group, that kind of stuff. Or that's kind of my thinking of the next meeting, and any other quick facts or details I need to pass on. But anything else you think of, kind of let me know too. And I'll try to answer and get questions. Biggest thing today is make sure your final payment's due, I think, tomorrow most of the time. If you're haven't paid it all yet, if it's auto coming out, be prepared for that. And then if you want to sign up for any excursions that you're not on as of yet, try to do that pretty quickly as well, because they're trying to finalize all that stuff. Not saying that when we're on the trip, I think Carol and Shelley, when we were on the trip the last time, they even said, there's a few spots left in this excursion. If you didn't sign up, you could hand the tour director the money for it and do it then. But
Yeah.
They try to do all those pre-trip. So, anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. Thanks.
too.
I'm excited. I don't know what it is now. What, 71 days maybe?
Hey,
I didn't
Kenna,
pull up.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do we tip our bus driver daily, or is that?
No.
Just
At the
one-
end.
Yeah.
That's why I
That's it.
said I stick it all in an envelope. So on the last day, I know I have money left, but that's just Kenna, because if
We
not,
have the same bus driver.
So we have the same bus driver
Oh.
We
the
do.
entire
Okay.
time.
No
That's
trip.
what.
did.
That's
Yeah.
where I was confused. I thought, oh, we're going to be changing buses, so
Yeah, we had the same bus driver the whole trip the last time. We'll
okay.
verify that. The only place I think we maybe would have a different is from Scotland to Ireland, because we're
Yeah.
crossing the ferry.
Yeah.
But if we do, then the tour director will let us know all those things, and then I can divide it out and do it separate as well.
Okay.
But on our last trip, we had the same bus driver the whole time.
Okay.
So
Just curious about that.
Yeah.
So,
that's the only thing I'm not like, if we're on a ferry, will the bus, I don't know. Maybe the bus gets on the ferry, you know? I don't know. Might
Probably.
find out. Or we might have a different
we
bus
might
on the
be
other
on the
side.
bus on the ferry.
Yeah.
We might be. Yeah. I mean,
never
it might, you never know. Yeah. So, anywho, that's what I got.
Okay.
And
Thank
I
you,
would
Kenna.
not, I know some people like worried, don't get worried about being sick. Could you get sick? Yes. Things happen? Yes. Make sure you take vitamin C. I'm the traveler who will take I'll get my vitamin C, my zinc, everything in. What did you say, Jamie? Grapeseed oil?
Grapeseed oil, anything with grapes before for norovirus.
Yeah. So just kind of boost yourself up. Norovirus is sometimes prone to more to cruises in place where you're confined. We will be on a bus the whole time, but I don't know. We had people that weren't feeling well different times on our bus, and we were all fine. Most of the things we experienced on our bus were people with head colds and colds. So get your immune system boost before we go. Always. Yeah. All right. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yay.
We have a good group going. It'll be exciting. Who's that? Angela, September. If your group really travels in September,
Uh-huh.
September of 26 is our next work cultural and heritage tour.
Okay.
And we're going to South Dakota.
Oh,
And
okay.
we're hitting this is just a commercial for work. We're going to South Dakota. It'll be Memorial Day weekend. It'll be a Saturday or Memorial Day, Labor Day week. It'll be a Saturday through a Sunday.
Oh,
And we're going
sign me up.
through Iowa and all the way out to Custard, where we'll hit Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, Badlands, Wall. We're gonna hit Field of Dreams on the way out. We're gonna hit Corn Palace. We got a whole
Okay.
trip. It's September of 26. The math that Lindy and I put to the paper to the pencil, it's gonna be about $2,200 a person.
Sign me up.
because the work.
I'm in.
I can't sign you
I'm
up.
in.
When it's
Dang it.
open, I will share it with you. How's that?
Next
sound?
Okay.
year.
Okay. Deal.
September
I
26th.
have a park book. And so
Oh,
every
your
time we
passport. Yeah.
yes. So
We
every
do
time
too.
yeah, so
Everybody
every
knows.
time we travel, the girls know I have to get a sticker.
Yeah, you'll
They
get a
make
lot
fun
of
of me.
stickers. You'll
Yeah,
get a stamp at
so
a lot of places. Oh,
I know. Yeah.
that's our
Yeah.
travel group, right, Carol?
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. It's all about the stamp. I want the
Yeah,
stamp.
exactly. I want the stamp and I want the sticker. Where is it? Yeah, they make fun of me, but I take that book everywhere, and we usually try to find our trips, but we have a bucket list, so we get to draw out. Yeah, so it's fun.
Okay, just saying. In
Okay.
26 in September.
Okay.
We're waiting on the final approval from UK. It's gone all the way up to the big boss. So we just need their stamp of approval. I've already signed the contract for one hotel for the big stay because we're staying at Custard for 4 nights. So they better put their stamp of approval on it because I've already paid the deposit. So, we'll see. Anywho, it's happening.
Yay.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks,
All right,
Kenna.
bye.
Thanks, Kenna.
Bye.
All right. Bye.